Billboards. A lot of controversy in the city about digital billboards, about super graphics that wrap around buildings, about the fact that the city can't control billboards, the city doesn't know how many billboards exist, the city can't enforce billboard rules, the city can't enforce super graphic rules. But you go anywhere else, Santa Monica, Beverly Hills, Burbank, those cities have no trouble controlling the billboard industry. Why is LA unable to control the problem?
Well, I'm so glad you asked that question.
Well, that's the question you asked me to ask you.
I did.
No.
So here we go. We're just going to have a few-minute tutorial on billboards because it's it won't be your city. It won't be the city you want it to be unless you understand the rules, right? Here are the rules. Every city in the United States is allowed to regulate commercial speech. And in fact, you're allowed to ban commercial speech on buildings. Take a look at some of our neighbors. They have done that very thing. There are no billboards in Beverly Hills. There are none, and I do believe the business community there is thriving. So here we go. The law of the land is you're allowed to ban commercial speech. Where did the city of LA go wrong? They knew it from the get-go. They wrote exceptions. We ban commercial speech, we ban billboards, except maybe you can come back, knock on our door and get a permit if you ask us nicely. And they didn't write rules, just as they haven't for variances, CUPs, exceptions, zone changes. They never wrote rules for how we're going to make these judgments. So when Matt tells you he's a planning commissioner and I tell you I'm a planning commissioner, we don't have a rule book. It's discretionary, right? It's discretionary. Other cities write very strict tests and rules. Other cities don't have exceptions. Okay, we wrote in exceptions and there began our litigation, and it went on for a decade. Mid-process, midstream, you know what we did as a city. You know it. We winning the litigation because the court said, well, yeah, they have exceptions, but I think maybe these exceptions are going to be okay. We'll litigate a few years more. But midstream, the city council settled the litigation while the city of LA's attorneys were winning. And the deal came out the door, and here we are with 840 digital billboards and sundry other upgrades that violate the letter of our ban. I read it. Do you think, I was planning commission president, do you think first off, do you think they told me they were doing it? Do you think I was in the room? Well, I made it my business to find out what the heck was going on, and I read the document, and you know, hindsight is perfect. What do you think I did? I went to the mayor and said, you have to veto this. This is bad business for the city. It's bad business for the integrity of our planning process. It didn't happen. I should have, well, maybe in 20 years I'll be smarter, but it didn't happen, and I didn't know what that message meant for me.
Who authored the settlement agreement? Who was part of that?
There were two attorneys in the room. It was the city council and the city attorney, so there were two attorneys representing you and me. Rocky Delgadillo and Jack Weiss.
I knew the answer to that. I just got
I knew you knew. So here we go, guys. Now, from that day forward, the digital billboards have been popping up. When they started popping up, the super graphics guys said, oh my God, this city is easy pluckins. Let's pop up too. everybody began popping up, and some people on the council began the process of saying, we're going to stop this. Have you seen them take down the digital billboards? No. Have you seen them unwind the settlement agreement? No. They're writing a new ordinance. Does it have exceptions? You betcha. Here's what they say to me, like I'm the dope I was when I walked in the door. They say, Jane, these are legally defensible. And I say to them, you know what? Some of us are not going to live that decade to see you finish that legally defensible piece or 20 of litigation. Why don't we do what other cities have done? Why don't we enforce a ban, give ourselves through ordinance all the tools that New York City has for ridding itself of illegal billboards? There are many tools. They're not in our new ordinance. Why don't we take a pause? Isn't that logical? Let's get rid of those illegal billboards. It'll take us a good couple of years. We'll be in litigation. Let's get rid of them. And then let's look at the scenery and see what we'd like collectively to do as a city on the subject of billboards. Because I don't want to be the one, and I don't want Nutritanich to be the one who spends the next 10 years litigating with the billboard industry over exceptions.
But doesn't the city of Los Angeles make a lot of money on each of those billboards?
Not a penny.
Not one penny.
Not one penny.
And folks, just so you know, we don't have any digital signs yet in Sherman Oaks, but they're coming. So if you don't want those digital billboards that blink every 8 seconds they're allowed, because Jack put that in the rule, every 8 seconds there can be another ad. You better go ahead and start calling your city councilman right now.
Here's what I have to say. We don't need to become the billboard purists.
Every 8 seconds.
We don't need to become the people who say, you know, no growth, stop everything. But on this issue that we've been so unable to get our arms around, on this issue of billboards where we have been so unable to enforce our own law and take control of our own destiny, let's take a pause, even a 2-year pause, and then let's adopt a sensible policy based on the consensus of our neighborhoods and communities and business people. My children and my grandchildren will thank us for it.
With that, I'd like to thank you very much for giving us a very interesting insight.